Should be live.
Right now. Yeah. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash.
Double honor to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom to all the Akamai, pushing the word of sincerity and truth. You see the title of this lesson, trusting in the Lord's government, trusting this government, and not Esaus. Esau being the so-called white man. And what's today's date? The 16th. So one of the biggest events that's right around the corner, of course, is the November 3rd is the election. You know, you have these Jakes, predominantly black, Latino, and Native Americans, as well as Pacific Islanders, you know, Edomites, all nations lining up to vote, you know, and they're either voting for a Democratic leader or a Republican leader, because that's the only choices that they, you know, have, which is in the United States of America, the United States government, and they're looking to get an elected official to represent them for the atrocities that they're suffering. That's the main reason why people vote, if I'm not mistaken, you know, is, you know, for more aid and assistance from the government and for things to stay intact and for them and the generations proceeding to actually live a pretty well, you know, nurtured and sustainable life, whether it's through taxation, whether it's through rights of marriage, whether it's through economic elevation, whether it's through social equality. All of these things are dictated by your judges, your political leaders that actually pass policies and reformations. You know, they repeal certain legislations. You know, basically through the government of Esau, in so many words. And this isn't what we should be trusting in. This is the, you know, I always think this is the matrix, man.
Yeah.
And that's how Jake stays in a state of hypnosis, because they believe that lowering taxes will actually help, you know, more Medicare to take care of the sicknesses and ailments, you know, because that's one of the main things that they're speaking about is the Affordable Care Act. All right, they want that Affordable Care Act. Democrats are trying to, you know, damn us to keep the Affordable Care Act intact, and you see these different Republicans that's basically pushing against abortion. And you had this lady, Amy Cohen, if I'm roughly expressing her last name, she's basically getting elected to the Supreme Court. She's a Supreme Court nominee, and she had to go through these conference hearings a couple of days ago. And that was a pretty big thing, you know. And then I think right now, even this chick Kamala Harris was speaking with Obama actually being in the Supreme Court pushing against abortion, you know, and that's where you have these different branches of Esau. And like I said, most people, whether they're blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, that's Democrats, or whether they're Republican. And like here in the state of Georgia, you know, you have, if I'm not mistaken, Biden basically is you know, leading in the polls in the state of Georgia. But you have so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans that's voting for Trump too. But see, they're not trusting in the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. They're not trusting in the book. They're not trusting in prophecy. And they don't even see that this government is duping them. You have people that reign over, which is known as what? A shadow government. Tells you that in Ephesians the 6th chapter, how is principalities and spirits that's on high, that work through the left-hand side, and they actually work through the elites, and the elites are the ones that really precipitate, so to speak, or pass legislation down. Roughly, you know, that was a rough word, precipitation. You know, when water comes down, so they actually, from their position, they actually put the
Rain down laws.
they rain down laws. You see? So if you could get that, matter of fact, you have Ephesians 6 where it speaks about principalities.
This
Wrestle not against flesh and blood.
This is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Right, and the political race is a battle. That's why you have what? Battleground states. All right? And this is a war. But this isn't the war is not against having a Democrat or a Republican office. A man with fleshly, endeavors to be in a position. This is all spiritual. Everything was already written that we would be under certain governments, that would rule over us. With the word government, it means it's a compound word. Govern is to rule, and or control, and ment goes into mental. All right, which is to rule your mind or control your mind. This government puts you in a state of mind control.
Yeah.
Like I said before, hypnosis. And you're trusting in the taxes. Like you have these Native Americans that's looking to pay less taxes to actually have more, or have more businesses opened up in their dwelling quarters, whatever state they're located in, so that they can actually have more opportunity to actually thrive. But their whole land has been compromised and stolen from them. But now you're trusting as a citizen in a new government in this system when it already robbed you once,
Right.
robbed you twice, really robbed you multiple times.
Yeah. You're still getting robbed to this very day.
And you're still getting robbed unto this day. That's why the scripture says, behold, we are today in this in the land of our captivity and subject to payments. Sub is under and rule. The government rules us through what? Payments or taxes. High tax rate, which taxes goes into tribute, which basically makes you a debt slave, man. And it's the same thing. Democrats, Republicans in the ancient Rome, you had the plebeians and the patricians, which was the ruling houses of Esaus, which were the patricians, and the plebeians were really the commoners. And eventually they started to elevate, and basically laws were passed for plebeians to actually get more up in rulership positions. And you see the same thing now. That's why you had a so-called, which he's a Hamite, but a so-called black person in office, Barack Obama. I think he was the 44th president.
Yeah, the 44th.
But the ones that were before, 43 others were all white. So that's the same Roman style in the Senate with the elected officials. That's in the Book of Maccabees, which Lord willing, I can get that, and you know exactly where it's at. If not, I'll look it up.
Thanks.
Cause you can keep going on that.
I'll keep going. I'll reread it from the top. This is Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Yes. Go now.
Like the brother mentioned, the word government goes into controlling the ruling of the mind, and the scripture says against the rulers of the darkness of this world. So why would you be for or place a vote, for someone who's ruling the darkness of the world, man? When you have the Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, that's who you're supposed to place your vote for, man. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of people trust in their government leaders, and then it's always some damn scandals that revolve around a lot of these individuals' names, man. But they have the money as well as the power. Because first off, they're getting voted in office from judges.
Yeah.
But if they do something wicked, you think these judges gonna really, strike them down? They're not even striking down these different cops and shooting Jake in the face,
Exactly.
choking Jake out, beating the hell out of these different Israelites in the streets. Most of them are getting acquitted. Cops get acquitted on a very high and on a very high rate. I actually did a lesson on that earlier this week. Majority of these cases, like you had this guy that choked out George Floyd, he got out.
Yeah.
But you think like they're speaking about Donald Trump, all these different charges he faces.
Yeah, evading taxes.
Tax evasion, paying like $750 a year. I'll say allegedly. Allegedly paying. But if that's the case, is he gonna actually face federal charges for tax evasion? And they said allegedly this guy's also $400 million in debt. So if that's the case, like I said, and they're speaking about him actually being able to write off or remove all of his charges, man. But it happens on a day-to-day basis with these different Edomites that's in positions of power, whether they're actually swindling and robbing individuals for millions, poisoning through the pharmaceutical industry. Because for another thing, you have these different bodies of the government: the FDA, the DEA, the FBI, the CIA, and a lot of those different individuals work on the left-hand side too.
Yeah.
The drug enforcement agency. A lot of those individuals will put drugs back on the streets. You have, which I was speaking on, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. For things to be FDA approved, it has to go through their approval.
Yeah.
And majority of the things that they approve is killing Jake, man.
Exactly.
All these different drugs that's approved.
And the things that benefit you, such as colloidal silver, is not FDA approved.
It's not FDA approved. All right, so that's what mind control. That's how they control your mind. And you see Jake's lined up at these hospitals because what? First thing they do when they get coronavirus affected by the coronavirus, they run to the government and then they'll leak into those hospital beds like it's a damn swimming pool, or get dragged into there. And they'll have to be on ventilators, which it's already been spoken of. More people died on those ventilators, man. You could have treated yourself at home through the natural remedies of the Most High. The Most High even tells you when you're sick what to do.
Exactly. Hey, to put it out, I mean, it's been put out there, but me personally, I so-called had the coronavirus. But I didn't run to Esaus medicines and his science or whatever to the hospital. I took natural herbs. And through the Spirit, and of course prayer, that just shows you that how Yahweh Bashim Yahushua looks out for the people who hearkens and listen unto him, man. But continuing on reading in Ephesians, it says the rulers of the darkness of this world against spiritual wickedness in high places. So that shows you here that the wickedness. That's here in, the world or America specifically is evil, is wicked, and we're fighting that battle against, these presidents or these people in these elite statuses, and these judges. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is against those people, man.
Right, and it's not for us to protest and try to pass legislations that can get looked at through your mayors, your local elected officials. Cause what? It'll get struck down. It ain't gonna hold no weight.
Right.
Our Israelites, should be liberated from America, and we should get all the money that was stole from us from years and years of our forefathers that you've robbed and defrauded. You think the Native Americans haven't tried that? And how far did they get? They put them further in the ditch. And you don't see that that's the big thing that's being spoken of in the news. Native Americans, we got to get these we got to pay these Native Americans back, man.
Yeah, I don't mention that at all.
We got to get them more city, we got to actually do more expansions personally in their locations. All these different individuals that's actually, making money in the United States, whether it's tech companies or buildings and infrastructure, we should have a Native American tax.
Right.
Where a percentage of your money is taxed and give it to those people that you built on top of through their tribe that they actually live in, whether it's the landmark of the Navajo or the landmark of the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Cherokee.
Hey, even with your so-called blacks with reparations, how is it that they can just so happen pull? How much was the total was the stimulus package? I forget
7 trillion or something.
It's like 7 trillion.
2.2 trillion. Something?
Yeah, it was 2.2 trillion. You can just pull 2.2 trillion out of thin air and give it to every American citizen, but you can't give, the reparations, to the so-called blacks. It shows you that whatever, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites, that they're against you, man.
They're against you, and you're oppressed in this land, man. That's why when these, basically sicknesses such as this sickness outbreak comes, you have the least amount of security, and you're the ones that's dying off on a quicker rate. You can't afford health care. You can't afford these different expenses. Even the drugs at Esau, that shit is expensive. You know, I did a lesson on that earlier. Well, not this week, but earlier, if I'm not mistaken, this month. Yeah. You know, I was speaking about the different drugs of Esau. You know, you just be going through the lessons in the spirit. You be like, man, you know, just put in records.
Yeah.
But you know, they're speaking about people that got bipolar disorders, and that was people that was possessed by devils, which the scripture says they had, whether it was schizophrenic. They had, that diagnosis, you know, goes all the way back, you know, to the scriptures. People that have multiple spirits on them, which they call legion. That's called schizophrenia in today's time. It's just diagnosed with a term. And they was trusting in the government of Esau, and then a lot of people were sick and they couldn't even get treatment through the Roman officials. So they had to trust in Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai was healing them.
Yeah.
So that was the government that Jake was. Matter of fact, you can finish that.
That was it. I finished it.
Okay, you get that in Matthew. That was the government that Jake was supposed to trust, not this one, man.
Time. This is the.
And he was the cornerstone. Yahweh Shai, excuse me. He was the cornerstone for the body of men, you know, that would come up under that umbrella for the Israelites to trust. All right. Yahweh Shai, when the Israelites got sick, Yahweh Shai didn't say, you know what? Yeah, I think you need to go to the Romans and get checked out.
Yeah.
You know, let's write a letter to the Caesars. You know, whatever certain departments they actually had, and let's get you checked out. Matter of fact, we're gonna actually take a portion of our money that we've collected, because we have our, you know, reserves, and we're gonna get you straightened out, sister.
Right.
Or brother. Because they know it. They ain't trusting that. The Lord didn't even put that as a factor. You know, that's not in the scriptures, man.
That ain't even come across his mind.
That ain't even come across his mind. It was so even in the government of Israel, you're supposed to trust in the Most High, and the scriptures speak about those herbs, man.
Right.
That's one example amongst many. You got it.
John, this is book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 6. It says, "And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel."
Right. So it says, "And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least of the people, for out of thee shall come a governor." The word governor means rule. My people, who? Israel. So when the Lord was coming, he was coming to rule over the nation of Israel and to get the Israelites right. Because they were veering off, and they were even trusting in the governments that they were living in, man. Whether it was Rome or Greece, and they would enter into the military because you had military benefits. Even now, does the military have benefits? Hell yeah, it has benefits. Did it have benefits back then? Hell yes, it had benefits. Everything has a level of benefits. Whether you're you know, you work in the medical industry, you have benefits.
Yeah,
you work military or if anything that you involve yourself in with government has a level of benefits. Yeah. What you gonna say?
No, I think it was you who put that video in our camp group chat. You know, when the guy was going around asking those military people, why did they join the military? And majority of them said either they didn't know, or it was something like carnal, or for the benefits.
Yep, for the benefits.
You know,
it actually, you know, whether retirement, whether they have a good retirement, whether there's a good bonus checks, you know, that you can actually get. You know, because some people, like my uncle, he's in he actually retired from the military, but he's very well off. You know. Because what you actually elevate, whether you're in the Marines, you know, or whatever body of the military you're in, the higher you get, the more benefits come with it. So Jake starts with trusting the military. They trust in fighting for their country, not knowing that they're being used to rob other individuals like they were robbed, man. So is some more on that, or that?
That was it.
You can jump to Isaiah 8 and 21.
Okay.
Because that's how they get you. Esau is a warlord. He's a warmonger. They had this movie that came out, which I'm going to put you on that movie, Lord willing. World of Warcraft. It was a video game, but they actually had a movie, and it was basically a top witch that would go to different worlds, destroying it. I was like, man, you know who that is? That's Esau, man. I was thinking about Revelation 6, where he goes to death and hell follow, because every time he went to worlds, he would kill him off, and he had to go to another part of the world. Then he had to go to another part of the world. And we're seeing the same thing going on now. Now people talking about what, climate change. Every time you look at an herb or some type of exotic animal, something of a natural substance, it's going extinct.
Yeah.
We just not talking about the frankincense, man.
Yeah.
You know, Spirit had it where I was watching a video going into why frankincense is so expensive, and they're talking about they're basically having a heavily dial rate.
Yeah.
You know, being abused, and then they can't even develop. You know, they're basically being consumed higher than they're being produced, because more people are just consuming.
Not giving as far as the frankincense, because you get it off the tree, the bark, the tree bark, and they're not giving it a rest. The guy said they every 15 minutes. I believe he said every 15 minutes they come back and get more frankincense off of the tree, off of the tree bark, man.
Yeah, see that? So they constantly abusing it. The scripture says to what? Use the world as not abusing it. It should really be a halt on certain items at certain parts of the time.
They're the land Sabbath.
Yeah, which the scriptures speak about the land Sabbath. That's how you know that this government is where it's at, man. Because that's a law. That's a legislation that was passed divinely from where, it didn't have to go through the Senate and all that, but the Lord passed it down.
Yeah.
Exodus 31 and 18, if you can read that real fast. Because it was passed down from the Most High directly into the hands of Moses. Which he was what? A king. He was the king of Jeshurun. Which Jeshurun is a Hebrew word, Yasharon, which means upright, which was the Israelites. You got that? Or is it's either 31 or 18 or 18 or 31? Matter of fact, I'll read it.
You wanted to table the stone?
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, Exodus 31. This is Exodus chapter 31. I'll start at verse 17. It says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested, and was refreshed.
So the Lord knew what he was talking about when he put the table of stone on how men ought to live, because he created the world. He knows the world, if the world had an expiration time or not. And he actually created the world so that man would benefit, not for it to have an expiration time. Now, with the white man rulership, things are starting to expire and spoil in due time.
Because he's abusing it.
Oh, this animal's going extinct. It'd be hard to watch the damn Animal Planet. This is what they do. You'll watch the Animal Planet, then they'll talk about how beautiful and magnificent an animal is. Then they'll talk about how
it's only 10 left.
it's only so many left. People killing them off. Basically, this is the last of a dying breed. You ain't gonna see this no more. They be like, God damn. So you be all pissed off. You like, man, what the hell? You can't even enjoy the Most High's creations. It ain't like, all right, this community of these animals are thriving, and they're gonna actually be here for more generations to come. Nah, it's only so many of them. You just seeing the last of a dying breed, basically.
Exactly.
Keep going.
Verse 18, and he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of the Most High.
Right, so it told you the law of adultery. It told you the law, the civil law. You have ceremonial laws dealing with, your brother, whether he still kills, theft. It deals with the poor. It deals. You have the law with the judges. To deal with the law of the king. The law with the priests. Like you just said, the law with the common citizen. The law with women. The law of slavery. The laws have everything embedded within them.
And if I can add to your point, that's why through the Spirit, your brother came up with this lesson, because when you get into the scriptures, you understand and you realize how against the scriptures that this kingdom is, man. It's hard. The majority of the laws that this brother just stated, you can't even abide by here in Esau's kingdom, man.
Nah, you can't.
The majority of them, you can't.
You can't even, you get the right to practice your religion here in the United States. You have a freedom of speech, and you have these different constitutional rights. But you can't tell your job, you know what, it's the Sabbath, I can't work today. They'll have a right to fire you, man. if you actually practice, oh, this is a high holy day, I can't make it today. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the days that I'm gonna be in, you know, that I can work. They're gonna look at you like you crazy.
Yeah.
You know, because what, you're in a foreign land, but they will give you Christmas off. They'll make you celebrate. They'll make you actually follow the traditions of men.
Yeah. Certain jobs, their brothers they can't have the beard.
Can't have
Maybe
a beard.
They try to make them shave the beard.
But it's like, yo, this is what grows on my face. You telling me how to trim and how to actually look when I'm actually presented at you know, you have to look presentable. According to who? According to these damn Edomites.
Yeah, but a beard is presentable until Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
And that the Lord told you how to present yourself. You know, as well as you know, the law of abortion. You might want to have your child, but you know, you have this the saying, my body, my rights.
Choice,
yeah, my choice. Excuse me. I think it's my body, my choice. So you have the choice to do with your body as you want to. A woman could get pregnant 100 times in a year and kill off every, you know, she could fucking be in the abortion clinic weekly, you know, aborting multiple children, and she won't get off. She don't caught one body, I mean, she caught 100 bodies in a year. And if you actually kill somebody, you're gonna have to serve them, you have to serve some big boy time, man.
Yeah.
But does that make sense? I mean, and also the law of authority. A woman could cheat on you. Here it is. You could be married to a woman, and she's sleeping with all kind of dudes, you know. And you want to actually divorce her. If you divorce her, she'll have rights to take portions of your property.
Yeah, half of everything.
Half of everything, and she's the one in the wrong. The scriptures teach you to talk about the law of adultery. They're not gonna put that woman to death. She's actually gonna come up. So this place is wicked, man. Some more?
Right, that was it on that Exodus. You want Isaiah?
Yeah, Isaiah 8:21.
John, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 21. Oh, sorry, 20. It says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
Right, so this is the law and this is the testimony of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that brings the light upon the earth. And what does it tell you in Isaiah the 60th chapter? This whole world walketh in darkness. This place is dark, you know, from the ways that they actually conduct themselves to the laws and legislations they pass. Oh, it tells you in Daniel that through his craft, witchcraft, which is passed through what? Legislation, Satanism. Abortion is a form of Satanism, man. Because what you would have in the it says, scripture says you should not sacrifice your children to Molech, which was a deity, and you would have individuals that would actually have children and they would abort them. They would actually make it pass through the fire, and you would have burnt offerings. All right, you would actually deliberately get pregnant and give your child as a child sacrifice. And that's why these certain women that be aborting all these children, they be having damn spiritual power on the left hand side, man. Jake look at them like a damn queen, which the word queen means a slut. You know, because really a lot of those queens would sleep with all kind of men and actually gain power, you know, through that box. They will actually possess and harvest souls.
Yeah.
And these same women do that.
The same women.
And that's why even women that have sex with, you know, the first man you deal with and he ejaculates in a woman, his DNA is in her.
Yeah.
So she's just like a damn, a fucking super demon.
Yeah, because these women ain't just having sex with one dude and just keep aborting that same seed, baby. No, they going to different men. Each time they're aborting a different seed, man. You know, and it's wicked, man.
But this government protects them.
Exactly. Continuing reading this verse 21, it says, Isaiah 8:21, and they shall pass through it hardly besteed and hungry, and it shall come to pass.
Oh, and they doing that in this government, man. Keep going.
It says, and it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their power and look upward.
Right, and you see these different governments collapsing. So they're going to start trusting in the power that's outside of their reach. Because what they see before them is something they shouldn't be trusting in. Now what I did a lesson the other day of 55 million people assumed to suffer famine in parts of Africa. I forget the other regions, slipped my mind right now. But basically different parts of the world. And it's going to start, that's why you have Costco, catching hell, and these different food chain, food supply markets actually not actually having the proper substance to actually supply the people. And it goes back to what? These different nations eat abominably, which has started a pandemic. Allegedly, they say that's a, because it's either two things, because it came through really witchcraft, some damn left hand side, spirits. It came through either unclean foods, which is the what they say occurred in the wet markets in China, or it came through these scientists that actually created it in the laboratory to push it as a major deadly illness. And you have books that actually were spoken about a disease outbreak that was going to happen in the world, and it would actually be in Wuhan, China. So that goes back to Ephesians 6th chapter, how we're fighting against the darkness of this world, and only those that have eyes to see, which the scriptures speak about that light. We see everything clearly, man. It's just you people that don't see it clearly. That's why they still trusting in them. They're blindly following the powers that be. But it's coming to the point where the chicken's coming home to roost, and you're like, oh shit, everything I'm trusting in is a damn lie. I gotta trust in something that actually is, you see that your pastor's been lying to you your whole life. You see that your government's been lying to you. Try a new way. Because this is the way, the words of Yahweh Shema Shine. And actually reading these words and applying them. Keep going.
It says, and curse their king and their power, and look upward.
You can speak about that.
And they shall look up unto the earth, and behold, trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. And that all comes from trusting in your enemies, man. The scriptures speak about trusting in your enemies, man, and how you're not supposed to do it. The first thing is knowing who your enemy is, which is the so-called white man and these other heathen nations. Pursuant to what? Psalms the 83rd chapter, how they had that crafty counsel against so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, which the brother was speaking about. They're still doing to this very day, man. That's why, the Spirit had this lesson come up. Hey, you're really supposed to cast your vote on Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Because since I think it was mid-40s or early 50s, when they started allowing, Jake to vote. Hey, what's changed from then to now? You're still in slavery, man. You're still subject to payments. You're still being you're still paying taxes. Nothing's changed, man.
And what do you want from this place? What's the when Nick Rockefeller was talking to Aaron Russo, they were talking about Nick Rockefeller. Aaron Russo asked Nick Rockefeller, what does this all boil down to? He was like, you run the world, you actually have full control of everything. What's the conclusion? He said, we want to take this microchip and we want to put it into each and every one of these citizens, and we'll basically have full rule over the world. That's like a new seed. They're going to actually harvest your spirit through that chip. And shortly after, Aaron Russo died. So we're looking at these things. We're seeing technology moving. We're seeing, better game systems. We're seeing better cell phones yearly. We're seeing better software. Newer cars. Every year it's a new update. But what's the conclusion of this? That Jake doesn't think about that part. What's the conclusion of it?
Why?
What is the purpose of things to be more and more futuristic? Whether it's through technology, it don't even matter about houses. Like it ain't like in due time houses gonna be fucking levitate like on the Jetsons. That's what Jake think. The main thing that's moving forward, because really the medical industry is not even moving forward.
That's true.
Because
everything gonna be on the chip.
Everything gonna be on the chip. When you think about more people are getting sick, so that we're developing more solutions and things of that nature, yada yada yada. More people are still working, but the rich are still getting extremely rich. But where are things moving towards? The poor people gonna always stay poor. Rich people are getting extremely more rich. People spoke about how think it was Elon Musk, all these different individuals, Mark Zuckerberg, tech companies.
Mm-hmm.
They made the most, some of they were they were some of the most lucrative individuals and companies that made money through this epidemic pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, through whether it was Amazon, Deliverance, you know, or just people actually doing streaming online, and actually more people actually watching movies and things at home to stay entertained. But tech companies, that was some of the biggest things. And you see how this vaccine has really merged a lot of these tech companies to push pro-vaccination. Now I think they said they delete ads that are anti-vaccine off of Facebook.
Yeah.
So it's all to what? Keep you in a line. The scriptures speak about how we're being led as sheep to the slaughter.
Yeah,
Jake don't see where this thing is going towards, man.
Yeah, they said they go delete so-called misinformation on the coronavirus on YouTube. And what's misinformation? The information that you're putting out.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? The information that we're putting out, and through research and through the spirit of the Yahweh Shem Yahushua, it's true.
But and they're deleting us as a spiritual outlet because what they want the media, which the media goes into the medes which deal with what heavily with witchcraft. They want to control whether it's newspaper articles, whether it's the sentiment of news, which I think news is I forget weather, sports, I think entertainment, and notable
the acronym for news.
yeah, and notable events. So they want to actually control the sentiment, really with notable events. Tell you how it went. Tell you how 1776 went. All these different times went, you know, and get you in a stupor, so that they could keep you going to the point where they actually, you know, lead you to the slaughter. But that's why we're supposed to be trusting in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and trusting in His Word and always looking upward. Scripture speak about look upward for your redemption draweth nigh.
Yeah.
And we could end it with Isaiah 10.
10 and 1. I had a real quick one. This is Isaiah 65 and verse 11. It says, "But ye are they that forsake the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for the truth." And that holy mountain is talking about Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and His government. And 2/3 of our people is rejecting it, and it's going to continue rejecting it, and leaning on to your enemies, man. And it says that prepare a table for that truth, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number. Therefore I will number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. And what did you choose? The ways of the enemies, man. You know, the scripture saying, what's that, Isaiah 30, about choosing a covering that is not of Him. You know, you people are running towards, you know, a safety that's not of the Lord, man.
Yep, the people that cover with the covering, which is not of me. And that's through what? You actually trusting in the system. Whether you want to be a political individual, like I said, conservative, or libertarian, you know, Republican or a Democrat, or you want to actually have a spiritual outlook, whether a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist, a Baptist, Methodist, you know, you just cover yourself with something to actually have a state of feeling better, you know? Or you want to actually be you know, your sports enthusiast, you just actually, you know, are pro sports, or you're a pro gamer, and you're really just into that world, you know. But those things aren't the truth. Those are just forms of entertainment, which the word entertainment goes into distract. The scriptures don't speak about trusting in men, and all these things were created by men. Religion was created by man. These different companies were created by man, and you see people really trusting in this garbage, man.
Trusting in a self-driving car.
Trusting in a self-driving car, and they're really putting their full spirit. That's why there's nothing for them to take a chip, because they've been trusting the government for their whole life.
Yeah.
And got that Isaiah 9:6, right?
You say Isaiah 10 and 1.
That's what I meant to say, Isaiah 9:6. Which Isaiah 10 is
that's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a real good one.
This is Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. It says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor,
Yeah.
the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace."
Which is Yahweh Shai. It says the government shall be on his shoulder. So he's the ruler over the government. And his government isn't physically here. We didn't vote Yahweh Shai off. Hey, with Jake had basically a poll in their room, and they could choose between a murderer or Yahweh Shai. And if they would have voted Yahweh Shai free, he would have been cast free.
Yeah.
But they voted a murderer, and they said, we have no king but Caesar. So they looked at the devil as their leader. They were fully involved in that witchcraft. And the Lord was saving. The Lord was the only one that was treating them of the ailments, bringing the spirit, bringing the like scripture speak about, the meat upon the bones, man. Actually putting the breath back in them. But they didn't want the breath because what they trusted in death. They trusted death there. Jake loves the drugs, whether it's legal or illegal. They love the video games, the bitches. And Jake is stuck in the matrix, man. We ain't trying to, grab these niggas and unplug. The matrix.
Yeah.
You ain't trying to unplug some of these Jakes, man.
No.
You try to unplug them, they'll shoot you in the face, man.
Yeah.
Like Morpheus said that to Neo. He said so many people so tied up in the matrix, they're basically willing to kill you over it.
Yeah, I literally had a Jake tell me the reason why he's voting. He's voting for the lesser evil of the two. Which, it's just certain, like Jake say a statement like that. It's just like, what can you do?
What can you do with it?
You know what I mean? You're
And
voting for the lesser evil.
And then you see these different Jakes. Whoever is in office they're speaking about is going to be damn near a civil war. So, it's going to be a lot of them blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans that's shooting guns against the enemy. Or, like earlier, there's been a lot of protests and riots. Because what? Jake is either losing their trust in the government, well, really losing their trust.
They're fighting the wrong fight.
They're fighting the wrong fight. And they're trying to get somebody in power that feels the grief of them. It don't matter. None of these devils gonna feel it because they're not Israelites.
Right.
They can only feel this if they were actually the people of this stock. A lion doesn't feel the way a damn hyena feels.
Right.
They can't relate to it because what? They're not the same, man. Like a lion actually has the same thought pattern as a damn dolphin. What sense does that make? But leave it up to Jake. Jake think all brains are the same.
Yeah. That's why Jake pushing equality.
That's why Jake pushes equality, man.
Continue reading.
All spirits are the same. Scriptures, speak about this. That's why you have the sons of God, the son of man, and the son of the wicked.
Yeah.
All spirits not even the same. We don't see how spirits is, composed or created. But the Lord didn't make all spirits the same, man. All right.
That's why the scriptures speak about trading talents.
Trading talents, because people have different spirits that actually. That's why it's like all the brothers just think different. I wouldn't have thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But I think a certain different ways. But it all comes together.
Yeah.
That's the government.
Yeah.
How everybody's spirit. That's the 144,000, which you speak about the body of the men, the government of the men. With the 1/3. That's the under the cornerstone of Yahweh Shah, which he said. What it said, the government is going to be on his shoulder.
That's right.
So he's going to actually carry the government.
Verse 7, it says, "Of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. Upon the throne of David."
No more extinction. All right? No more mind control.
Yeah.
It speaks about men and Lord actually going to have their own planets. They're going to actually have paradise. And this isn't no optical. We ain't trying to sing basically push a false sentiment. Trying to deceive you and play the strings to keep you asleep. Yeah. This is reality. Yeah. It might not be reality to this world, but what makes this world true? This is all a lie.
Yeah.
Everything you've been taught has been a lie. You see? What you gonna say?
I was gonna say you ain't gonna be able to. What's the term when you try to kick the president out of office?
Impeach.
Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to impeach Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Because the scriptures say that it's not gonna be an end.
Not gonna be no end.
Should be no end, man. So it says, "And upon his kingdom to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever."
Right. So why would the Lord have to push a kingdom with judgment and justice if judgment and justice is already played out right now?
Mm-hmm.
But leave it up to Jake. They believe that this is the kingdom. This is hell, man.
Right.
This place needs to be wiped clean. And the scripture says that. It has to be started over.
Mm-hmm.
From the laws that's passed.
Yeah.
Oh, like you have these different gay rights. And these homosexuals have more rights than the singles now.
Right.
You could be a homosexual and sleep with a man, or a transgender and sleep with a man, and the man could try to get you, the word I'm thinking of is prosecuted, you know, and he'll actually try to get you locked up. But you can't, if I'm not mistaken, there's not even a law against that.
Right.
Homosexual won't get locked up, you know, for no shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
This place is wicked as hell, man.
That's why the scripture say we all will create a new heaven and create a new earth, man.
Wherein dwelleth righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
This place it dwells nothing but wickedness. All right, so that's why we have to fight tooth and nail for the. You know, we got to. Scripture says what? Pull down strongholds. We got to yank this government down through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, because it holds strong on the mind of the Israelites and establish the Lord's government through righteousness and truth.
Mm-hmm.
But it first starts what? Through this word. You know, that was it, right?
Just a little bit more.
Okay.
It said, and to establish it with government and with justice from henceforth, even forever, the zeal of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua of hosts, will perform this.
So the Lord will perform it. That's going to be an act that's actually going to be executed. And the Lord said, you know, whatever He says, His word doesn't go out void.
Mm-hmm.
Just like legislation, that, you know, you'll see legislation passed in
Yeah.
the government, it might not happen until like 30, 40 years later.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where it's fully executed. And it,
Yeah.
hey, the Lord say certain things through prophecy.
Yeah.
Did He say it was going to happen at that time? No.
No.
It was certain events that were to take place
Mm-hmm.
for you to actually see
Yeah.
and trust in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. And then, you know, scriptures speak about the seals being unlocked.
Yeah.
You know, that's like legislation being opened up,
Mm-hmm.
enacted.
That's why the precept that you brought out in Exodus, it said that the laws are written in stone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Lord Yahweh with that gavel, man. That bang, man, it's solid. It's stamped. You know?
That's right. So that was it.
Yeah, that was it on there.
Yeah, so hopefully you brothers are edified. You know, this is the government trusting this, trusting Yahweh Shema Shah. They don't trust in this world, man.
Mhm.
Shouldn't be lining up to vote. The scriptures, you know, even condemns that. You know, so we want anybody giving all praise, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakapadash.
the abundance of the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom.